Hello everyone, Mr. Nacho here, and today I wanted to share with you a new build based on pets, or a zoo build as you would call it. But first I need to tell you what the latest patch brought in, and the devs decided to finally add the ability to reroll a legendary power on your prism, which is huge. Basically what it means is that you will go back to level 50 on your prism, you will keep all of your fusions and everything else, and you'll just need to get from 50 to 51 once again, and then you'll get a new selection of legendary powers, and you can do it as long as you want until you get the ones you want. So this is a huge change. And also the next thing is the latest update, for whatever reason, just made the game lag much more for me. So if there are any lags during the gameplay today, I am sorry, but there is not really much that I can do. Alright, so the build today is based on Summoner and Handler. We will be using the Reaver minion, which is the big guy. There are also some fights where you would prefer the flyer, like in the Mother Mind fight, because the Reavers will just stand on the platform and die whenever the Mother Mind destroys the platform, but the flyers will just fly around and they don't care about platforms. So this is just a very situational pick, but more often than not, the Reaver will actually be the best one that we can choose. We have the Ruthless perk, and we'll be using it quite a lot, especially on the boss fights, and I will tell you how to trigger it very shortly. And then we have the Handler with the support dog ability, because this will let us keep our Reaver or our Reavers very healthy. Also, the way that we trigger Ruthless actually works with Kinship extremely well, because what we will do is we will spray the Reavers with our Nebula, which will apply Corroded for 15 seconds, so it will keep refreshing the passive for 15 seconds, and then it will last for the next 40 seconds. So once a minute you just need to spray those guys with the Nebula and you'll be fine. And thanks to Kinship, they will take very little damage, and also thanks to the support dog, they will just heal any damage that they take right back up, which is absolutely great. They will be practically immortal unless something one-shots them, or as in the Mother Mind fight, the platform will just disappear. When it comes to the build itself, I decided to go with the Knotted set, just because it's the OG Summoners set. When it comes to the Relic, I like the Salvaged Heart, because it's just quick to use. We don't really care about it too much when it comes to healing, but it does heal quite a bit anyway. The weapon is whatever you'd like to be. Familiar and Spirit Healer are very good choices, because Familiar actually counts as an additional summon, which actually triggers some of the bonuses for us, and Spirit Healer just heals our dog and our Reavers even more. Then we have Krelax with Tainted Blade, just yet again for some dots, for Corroded on the enemy this time, so that they take 10% more damage, so that's fine. And then we have Nebula with Feedback. We can actually also go with the Failsafe, because actually there is a 15% chance that the mod will not consume, and it works for Nebula as well, and on top of that it deals 25% more damage. For now, Feedback doesn't really work very well. I'm not entirely sure why, but I hope that they will fix it, so for now we use Failsafe. When it comes to our amulets and rings, we will be using the Soul Stone, and it has a very important stat on it, which increases the movement speed of minions by 30%. The Reaver is actually quite slow, so whenever you are just traversing through the stage, it will be a very big help, especially because we have Handler and we will be zooming through the stages anyway. So this increases the summon damage by 30% and increases the summon movement speed by 30% as well. If you want to go for any replacement, I would say that the best one that you can go for would be the Soul Anchor, because it will be active all the time. It's all damage 20%, very nice. It will increase the damage of our summons, it will increase the damage that we deal with our gun, it will increase the damage of the mods, of the Nebula and the Familiar and everything else, so it's going to be very good all around. Then we have the Shaed Stone. It's just flat skill damage, it's not really that important. Then we have Soul Guard. This gives us a stack of Bulwark for each active summon. We'll have a dog, we'll have 2 Reavers, we'll have a Familiar, so we'll have 4 stacks of Bulwark for 1 ring slot, which is, I think, a great deal, so that's why I use it. And also, this is just one of 3 setups that I have for you, and this one is the balanced one. There will be one that's absolutely geared towards damage, and then there will be a one that's just a comfy one where you are very tanky. Next up we have the Soul Shard, increases all damage dealt by 5% for each active summon, which we can have up to 4 of them, so getting 3 is not really going to be a big issue. And then we have Burden of the Soilist, which reduces ammo reserves, but we don't really care about that too much, and increases mod and skill damage by 15%, which is great because mods and skills is what we are using. When it comes to the traits, we have Regrowth and Kinship, which are both extremely good. Then we have Triage, to increase our healing even further, swiftness, so we are fast, fortify, so we have better armor, flashcaster, so we can summon our guys faster, so we can use the support dog ability faster, so we can actually trigger the familiar and the nanoswarm faster. It's very useful. Then you have 4 points into strong back, so we can stay at medium weight. We have maxed out vigor because HP is very important. Then we have spirit for mod generation because we want to spam this Nebula and familiar. Expertise because skill cooldowns are mostly used for the support dog, but in case one of your Reavers has died or you exploded them by mistake or they cannot enter the boss arena for some reason, then you can just resummon them much quicker. And then one of the most important ones is the rugged one, which increases the health of archetype summons by 100%, which is a huge amount. They're twice as tanky as they would normally be. And then we have the leftovers into the recovery, so we can run around more and we can dodge more, and it's very effective. Alright, so this is the first setup. This is the medium one, where you have some damage and some tankiness. Right here is the setup that's just full damage, and the only thing that really changed is the burden of the destroyer. We get 15% more damage in exchange for a little bit less range. We don't really care about that too much, so this would be the best damage that you can get. Again, you can change the soul stone to the soul anchor, and both of them will be great. And then we have the tank setup, which has the installation driver, soul guard, dried clay ring, and again 2 damage rings, so we still do a lot of damage. We will be tanky enough that we don't really need any healing. We'll go for the attack dog, but if you find that your minions are still dying, you can easily just swap to the support dog again. Traits stay the same, prime summoner, and we use the Reaver summon. That's all the same. I will just go with the full damage one to show you how much damage the minions and summons can actually do, and put to rest any opinions saying that the summoner is not really good. Then we have obviously our prism, and this is the one that I decided to go with for summons. Obviously you have skill damage, skill crit chance, and weak spot damage, because these guys can actually hit weak spots. If you don't really like the weak spot damage, you can easily just swap it to crit damage and it will be fine as well. We have skill damage baked into our prism because we actually want to stack it as much as possible. It's 20% right here. Unfortunately, there isn't really any fusion that you can do with skill damage, so we'll just have to leave it be as is. Then we have threshold for health bonus and gray health conversion, so we are much tankier than we normally would be. Mod crit chance and skill crit chance, so our guys can crit more, and Nebula and familiar can crit more as well. Then we have meta, which is weak spot and crit damage, because the Reavers can actually hit the weak spots quite often. They have this big swing that they do that goes actually at the enemy's head. In the low, some enemies are quite small, so usually it hits their head or weak spot. And then whenever it comes to the bosses or bigger enemies, they can actually throw their axes, which explode later on, and this can as well be a crit and a weak spot damage, so this actually increases our damage a lot. Then we have mage, so we have mod damage and mod power generation, so we can spam our Nebula and our familiar even more. And then we have soulmate, which increases summon limit by 1, which means that we can have, for let's say 3 flyers, or we can have 2 Reavers. Adding 1 flyer would be an increase of, let's say, about 50% damage, so it will be comparable to jack of all trades, let's say. But if you add another Reaver, then you are doubling what the Reaver can output, which is basically increasing the damage of it by 100%. This is not the totally absolutely accurate math, but this is the simplest terms that I can show to you how powerful this one actually is. I've been looking over it and I don't really feel like this would be very good, but as you will see in a minute, it absolutely shreds. Having 2 of those and a dog and the Nebula nanoswarm and the familiar just absolutely shreds everything around you. So we'll just go and see how 2 of those guys can handle a boss rush. Let's go. Alright, here is the boss rush. Here are the guys. Let's go. As you can see, they are quite slow, but they can teleport to us. And they are handling everything very easily. Let's just summon everything we can, and we can just basically run through the stage. There are some enemies here. We can actually tag our own guys, so they do even more damage. And we don't really have to do much in here. We can obviously help them, but it's not like they need it. Let's check what we can get as an upgrade. Killing effectiveness, always good. And let's see how they handle the red guy. Oop, he seems to be targeting us, so we'll just move out of the way. And he's dead. As you could see, that was like a 2700 damage crit, so very, very nice. These guys can actually pack a punch. And thanks to the amulet, they actually follow us very, very quickly. Alright, let's just go to the boss. Alright, and there will be the new boss. It's the spider guy. We'll see how they handle it. His AI actually disappears and reappears in different stages of the boss fight. So we will actually have to see how the AI keeps up with damaging the boss. Alright, let's just go in. Let's summon whatever we can. Let's run around, wait for our guys to show up. Let's damage them with Nebula. Do the howl so they stay full HP, and then just run around. We can shoot a little bit to get our familiar a bit quicker, but this should be fine anyway. Let's just reapply the corroded. We can use our relic, it doesn't really matter too much. We can pop Nebula again. And they actually seem to be hitting this guy. The explosions actually travel with him whenever he changes his position. So this is very nice. We are in trouble right now, so we just need to focus on dodging. And they are all dead. Alright, let's go to the next boss. Alright, this is just the next stage very quickly to again show you how easy it is to traverse with this build with all of your minions up. Alright, they are again kind of slow, but once they show up, we can actually attack them. They'll just kill everything around. Alright, I'll let you guys handle this. Actually heal a little bit. The dog got up there and killed the flying guy. Okay. Let's die. We are looking honestly just for the aberration right here, because all of these guys just die in one shot. And the aberration seems to be close. We just need to kill this guy. And no, this is an elite. Where's the aberration? There he is. And there he is not. Right, let's see this boss. Actually, I'm quite curious how it will perform. I have not used this build versus this boss yet. He is actually very, very mobile, so it will be a test of how good the AI is at targeting the enemies. And also, he can just roll over everything, so stagger and everything else might just be what stops this build, but I highly doubt that. Let's just go in and see. Oops, I got hit. Let's try to explode him once. There we go. Nebula will keep exploding him again and again. And let's just shoot, because there isn't really much more we can do. We could honestly just go back and AFK, or we can try to help those guys as well. Yep, he's not very happy with us, but that was the idea. And he's slowly but surely dying. The idea with this build is that it's not really the highest damage output that you can do, like with the monorail. And by the way, monorail was heavily buffed, so right now it's much better than it used to be. But the idea with this build is that you can literally just do nothing. We can hide behind this pillar and the boss will just keep dying. It's the safest option that you can do if you just want to complete the boss fight without having to risk almost anything, really. It will just take a minute. But as you can see, there isn't really too much that the boss can do to us. We just summon whatever we can summon and we run away. We can just kite him around, we can explode the thing whenever he comes by, like this. And they will just keep whacking on him. Alright, and that's that. Alright, another aberration. Let's see how they can handle it. I'll just step away for a minute, and there we go. It's done. Alright, this is Fail in, Fail in. And honestly, I don't really like this fight with summons, but we will have to see how it plays out. This is actually happening a lot to me whenever I have to fight this guy. I don't know why, but let's just go. There are my little guys. I can just do this. And they will actually keep destroying the balls that he spawns to attack us, so this is nice. He's trying to attack us, but we don't really care too much. We just run around. Yep. All that you really need to focus on is dodging. The guys will do all the rest. Alright, phase change already. They don't really care about it too much. They'll just keep trying to attack him. They actually dodged that. That's impressive. And also, yeah, sometimes it's hard to say what is happening because there's so many effects going on at the same time. But as you can see, phase 2 already done, and we'll go to phase 3. They hate him with passion, it seems. That's good for me. Alright, I got hit. That's on me. Well, he got hit as well. Yeah, the axe throw attack actually does a lot of damage. They are still trying to attack him even though he's in this form, which is cute, I guess. Okay, I failed that, but I didn't die somehow. That's okay. And there we go. He's just dead. Alright, so as you can see, this setup is working extremely nice. It doesn't really take too much skill to play it. It's just very good to farm the boss rush, or whenever you want to actually play with your allies. Having 3 of this build would mean 6 Reavers, 3 dogs, 3 familiars, and then also tons of Nebula and nanoswarms, which will just decimate any enemy that just shows up on your screen. Alright, so I do hope that you have enjoyed today's video. If you have any recommendations towards what build I should do next, then let me know in the comments down below. I will obviously leave a link to this build in the video description. Again, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.